Hey, Alter Ego here, and I want to share a Fallout 76 character build with you. I've been playing Fallout 76 for over a year now, and I finally made my 5th character. I decided on a goal of building the character around shotguns, and thanks to a recent triple XP weekend, I was able to get that mostly finished. There are a few things that I want to get into first. First, this isn't to tell you how you should build shotguns or that is the only way. I personally believe that you should prioritize whatever feels the most fun to you, regardless of how good it may be or may not be according to others. Second, shotguns have some quirks that make them inconsistent, and it's what you might expect: range and armor. This is important to consider for gear and moment-to-moment gameplay with shotguns, as there's only so much a perk build can do to mitigate those issues. Alright, so my special distribution was something I went over on the site Suits and Dragons, and it does have some room for points to be redistributed based on personal preferences, but this is what that looks like in-game for me right now. One of the things I still need to do though is to rank up the adrenaline perk to get that maxed out, but other than that, this build is mostly complete where I'm sitting at level I think like 56 right now. So 12 strength is just enough to get all of the shotgun damage perks and scatter shot to reduce the weight and increase reload speed, and taking a hit from the Eagle Eyes mutation doesn't really impact the damage on that, so I didn't feel a need to maximize my strength and reduce that sort of loss. Increased perception and agility both are going to have benefits to a VATS focus build, but for me I felt like luck needed it the most, and that's why it sits at the highest across all my specials in this build at 14. Without class Freak, I opted not to take the Bird Bone Serum for the agility boost because that would have ended up with a total of -8 strength, and that would have been a pretty big hit, but I still could have mitigated that and managed it by adjusting my playstyle. So the core of the damage perks are all there, so there aren't really many more additions that are going to increase my damage output consistently, other than to finish ranking up my adrenaline perk. I wanted the build to focus on using VATS Criticals, making luck the most important special alongside agility for, more AP. Moving some points from endurance and charisma over to perception would allow you to get some perks like glow sight and exterminator, which would help you get more damage in a fair few of the exchanges you'll run into. Alternatively, you could maybe put some of those points into agility for a little bit higher AP total, and there are a few different perks under agility that are quite useful. So in luck, I went with 4-leaf clover as my method to keep my crit bars full as often as possible, though you may have your own preference like critical savvy or something like that. And I used Grim Reaper Sprint to help make it possible to maintain my AP over a really long fight. So I had the Eagle Eyes mutation for an additional 25% crit damage, in addition to the better criticals perk, and I regularly make Blight Suit for an additional 20% crit damage. It helps that I've acquired a few shotguns with the legendary effect to deal plus 50% VATS crit damage, and so realizing all of those different things that do benefit that was what part of pushed me towards making this build. So while legendary gear will take just about any build to another level, and that does generally apply to shotguns, you can also make some adjustments to your weapons and gear to help as well. I haven't performed enough tests to say one way or another if the receivers that increase critical damage are going to pay off more than losing the damage at the base of just getting like a hardened receiver, but aligned and tuned mods, as well as others that improve hipfire accuracy, are going to help reduce the AP cost, allowing you to take more shots when you have your AP bar full, or just give you a couple more shots before Grim Reaper Sprint ends up needing to trigger. While an instigating pump action might not take down a level 68 super mutant in a single basic shot with this build, it absolutely can if a critical is used. Among the weapons I had set aside for this character, one was an anti-armor shotgun that I had used on a previous character, and even with only 3 points in shotgun damage, that anti-armor shotgun would prime a crit with the first shot, and the second shot would finish it off, and you can see that right here. Because of the way armor and resistances work, shotguns start to have a tough time against armored enemies like you might expect. And that's something that you're going to want to take into consideration if you want to build a character focused on shotguns. One of the reasons I went with VATS Crit build is to use crit damage to help overcome that obstacle. You may just end up wanting to carry around an extra heavy weapon, or maybe like a nice armor-piercing handmade if you can. It's just one of those, you're going to have to figure out how you want to deal with it on your own. Enforcer is another perk that really helps me manage fights, because even though it doesn't directly increase the damage that I deal, it offers a lot of crowd control. Fighting something like a Deathclaw or a Scorch Beast can be challenging, until you force them to the ground, and then they're just helpless to do anything to stop you. And that's about the gist of it. I'll link the Nukes and Dragons version of the build down in the description, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. And again, if you are planning on using this build that I have listed in the Nukes and Dragons, you may want to, like I said, adjust a few points out of the endurance and the charisma into either your agility or your perception. I hope this gave you some things to consider if you were thinking about making a shotgunner character in Fallout 76. And I'm just gonna leave you with some footage of me finishing off a sheep squatch with my shotguns. Good luck, have fun, and stay frosty out there.